Alright, it's at Love Clark again with your Holy Hypocrisy Hour. No, seriously, we're going to start talking about contradictions and hypocrisy, or what people would call hypocrisy in the Bible, and the reason why it's there, and how people can just take and look at just by their own interpretation, and how disagreements just come by the billions over little things, but it's interpretation. But the point is, okay, here's my argument. I've been trying to share with people. They took out Yahweh's name. They added in Adonai, or Lord. Lord is a chief title for Baal. I know a lot of you guys don't care. You think I'm stupid because you say, well, didn't you read the second? It means master. Well, duh. So if I was to go along with you, okay, see, part of that is understanding is correct, but part of it's incorrect too, because Yahweh said, call no one master. So why are you doing the very thing that he asked you not to do? Did he ask you to call him master? Did he ask you to call him master? The people in his time were calling him master, or were they? Were they calling him rabbi? Which they say means teacher, but does it really mean like in the enlightened one, or to be enlightened, or some kind of thing like that? The point is, okay, and then you've got other stuff. Like, here's how an argument would pan out. Okay, I use the word fool. Now, people say, oh, I'm warning you, fool. Jesus said that if you call anyone fool, you're in danger of hellfire. No, he said don't call other people fool, because then they could, that word means, it's a, basically, it's not what you guys are saying. Okay, look, a person in danger of hellfire is a fool. It wasn't a command that don't call someone a fool. What it means is, think about it, because you don't want to be calling nobody a fool, because you don't want nobody in danger of going to hellfire, okay? But in danger of hellfire. But not only that, it's kind of like, here's a quick example now. All your psalms and all these words with God's words in it, filled with the word fool. Full. All in Proverbs, all in Psalms. But then all of a sudden you guys go on this anti-fool speech. Okay, I think it was more of a warning to be careful who you're calling fool, or how you're using the word, but not a commandment that you cannot use it. If someone's in danger of hellfire, shouldn't we tell them they are? Okay, then if we think someone's in danger of hellfire, which is between them and God, but we can see our scripture tells us, right? So, what do? Well, we can't use a word that describes the exact same thing that you are trying to combat. Yet, and you'll read all these Old Testament scriptures and read all these words of wisdom that says fool, the fool has, right? I'm not trying to excuse, I'm trying to free speech, okay, for Christians that misapply the Bible or their scripture. Okay? I don't even know why I am doing this. But, now here's the other argument, okay? You'll have all these people tell you this word full should not be used. Okay? And then, well, they'll say, but it's all in this Old Testament. And they'll say, but Yeshua said not to call someone a fool, or be careful, or warned us against it. Not commanded, but warned. You know, there's a difference, but that's a whole nother subject, isn't it? Okay, now, so, you'll say, Yehoshua, Jesus said that we shouldn't do this. Well, you have enough sense to come to that. Here's the catch now. Here's your kicker. You have enough sense to come to that knowledge when it comes to what Yeshua said, okay, about the nature of God, when it comes to what Yeshua said and the Old Testament, of what's acceptable for then, and you'll side with Yehoshua, okay, in your New Testament, the stuff that was written there. But when it comes to the point where Paul starts taking over, guess what? Who do you side with then? You go this way. Most of the Christians go this way, towards Pauline's doctrine, Pauline Christianity. It's simpler, easier way out for you. You don't have to be responsible that way. But you'll do that. But why can't you refer Paul's back like you would, say, David, someone God loved, and actually had, God-inspired authorization that was witness, testimony, corroborated, and all that stuff, right? My point is, you can do this with all this old, I am who I am, and I never change, and all this stuff, right? This other guy comes along and tells you something else. And I'm not talking about Yeshua. I'm just saying, this is the point I'm trying to make. See what kind of point I'm making? You'll back out every time for Paul over what Jesus said and act like, well, that's the final word. But when it comes to King David, Dode, or one of these characters, or anything from the Old Testament, guess what you do? You act as if it's not relevant when it's convenient. So when I say this, you say that. Okay. Anyway, so when I say fool, you say don't say fool. And then I show you all these scriptures where they said fool. You say, well, Jesus said not to, so we won't. And you shouldn't either. So I say, okay, think about that. Think about that. Keep that in mind. Paul said you can live by just believing in Jesus' name. Wrong. All those things wrong. But when he's wrong, you don't refer back to Yeshua. See? But you guys got to realize that, okay? So that is the hypocrisy that I see in a lot of this stuff. When it's convenient for you, and you know what? And if you feel this and you're mad, it's probably because I'm right, and it's true. And you know what? I'm trying to come from the humble spot, okay? I really am with this. I'm trying to come from humility and humbleness, okay? To reach out to anyone with the inkling of common sense. Look past all your anger, frustration, and fear right now. excuse me, cling on to this ideas right now. Don't just listen to me. Check it out for yourself. What I'm telling you, you'll find out it's true. You'll find out what I'm saying is true. Most of the time, they will do this. So if I get into an argument with a Christian, okay, they'll say, I'll point out all this stuff from the old text. And I'll say, well, that was then, this is now, and Jesus said this for now. But all the things Jesus had to say to fulfill, not destroy the commandments, not to destroy the law or the word or the Torah, but to fulfill it, to magnify it, to make it more clear, easier to observe, better, more detailed to observe, with more benefits, understanding all the benefits. Understand what I'm saying? So, one says this, one says that. When it comes to Paul, you refer as the final word. But when it comes to Dode, you're going to refer back to the person that has all these psalms and proverbs of wisdom, God said. Yet you're going to refer to that as when it's okay, what Yeshua said is what matters here. But when I tell you what God says, and it lines up with Yeshua says, but I show you Paul says something different, you'll go with what that says. Do you understand what that means? Either you're lukewarm, you're blind, you're a hypocrite, a false teacher, or false student, if you want to call it that, or just ignorant. That's about 6 reasons right there. So, I'm not trying to fly insults. I'm just saying the truth, the honest truth. Okay, and then there's a lot of these people that like to insult. They love to do it. When you put yourself on the internet, just face it. But you people have, like I've realized about myself with flying insults, okay? You have to just be ready for whatever insults anyway. But even Yeshua said that, you know. It's not going to be a cakewalk. You know, anything that with the things that he said, see, you got to look at it that way. Think about what I'm saying. You'll tell me don't say fool because Jesus said not to. Well, I'll show you what Paul says against Jesus. You'll refer and back up Paul as if that's a final say over your own Lord. You call Lord, who told you don't call anyone master, father, rabbi, teacher, right? They called it anyway. Okay. And there's several reasons why people would disagree, why, you know. But Baal, what's the purpose of taking out the Yahweh, the name of Yahweh, and placing in a title that when you look up the definition, it's the reserved title for Baal, first of all. You don't get it. They added Adonai. Every place where Lord has been added in with Adonai. Okay? You've got this new word they use as a title for God instead, and they act like it's a generic title that's meant for God, and it's not. It's for Baal. Okay? So just understand this hypocrisy and rightly dividing and understanding what the heck you're saying. Don't just go around saying, you can't say fool, you can't say this, you can't say that, you can't say goddamn. Because, well, first of all, if I was using God's name vainly, it would have to be an improper use of the word. What God has damned people, if something is damned by God, then it's called what? God damned. The things God told us He damned, we can say are damned. If you're preventing me from telling people what God has damned on this earth, then you're the sick, twisted Antichrist, not me, okay? Because by saying God damn, you're telling people what God has damned. Now, if you used it improperly, or you used God's name, see, you'd also have to be using God's actual real name, Yahweh, okay, also in the setting to even be relevant. If you're going around saying this all the time and it doesn't apply to anything properly, then yeah, you're using it in vain. So don't be confused by this kind of stuff. See, people don't rightly divide. They don't know how. They've been taught not to. They've been told discrimination is evil. Okay? And then they put on this racial, you know, a guilt trip on you, like a racial prejudice guilt trip, that you're a judgmental person if you use these kind of, if this applies to you, or if you use these kind of things in your practice. Okay? So I'm going to let you go at that. Alright? It's at Love Clark. Learn how to rightly divide. Keep it real. Okay? I mean, it's got to end. I'm no better than, you know, I'm no better than nobody else. That's what I'm trying to say is, that's why I'm trying to recognize my own faults and look at what I see and reflect on that too. Okay, because if we're not growing, prospering, growing up, you know, then bearing those fruits, or we go for 3 or 4 years and we say we're in God and in His Word and want to practice it, but you see the same old fruits for like 5 years, 6 years, 7 years down the road, you don't see any change or new fruit or a change in the fruit, it starts to become evident. Your fruit needs some help. And to say God didn't damn anything or curse, okay, not to curse. Well, He sure did curse that tree he walked past, and He told it to wither up. Lots of curses, lots of damnings. Am I saying it's okay for you to practice or any of us else? No. What I'm trying to point out is the hypocrisies by other people, thinking that there is a difference between, sorry if you don't want to believe it, between what your God says for you to do and what's good for you and what He's allowed to do are two different things. Whether you think that's a hypocrite or not, that's between you and Him. And if you do believe this is the creator of everything in all life, then it's His goddamn or not goddamn choice what is said or done. Some people want to see a God that's evil and wicked and unjust and all kind of these things, and I think a lot of this stuff is mistranslations, and that's what I'm warning people. This King James stuff is so much garbage that, like I said, it's almost not even, it's hard for me to pick it up later. I gotta back up, and I just finished my last Bible college course for my second Bible college. So I'm done with my 2 Bible colleges, and I don't really want much to do with it as is. The Holy Bible. See, that's what people don't understand. They think the Holy Bible is the only word available, it's the only scripture available, that it's just the finalized version, it's the best one, it's this, it's that, and it's not. Am I a Hebrew expert? No, I'm not. But I'm the one that, like I said before, you get a lot of insults. You expect that when you put your face on the internet. And you speak your word. Okay, but those insults, you know, might have some kind of justification to a certain degree. See, instead of me denying it or rejecting them all, I said all, meaning I'm not going to deny. Okay, if I've done something wrong and I don't see it in myself, maybe I'll pray between me and God to show me that or forgive me. But other than that, you know, and what it is called repentance, okay? But if you went on for 5, 6, 10 years and you didn't grow, you're still playing little games where you just, it's just name-calling games for 10 years and making a list of people on your list or whatever that you don't like. Nobody's going and praying for, who's praying for their enemy? Who's loving their enemy? You will sit there all day long and hate the hell out of people. Hate the hell into them, actually, because if you're trying to save those people, or you think you can save somebody, God's not saving you. Not today, and not yesterday. If He wanted to save you, He would have already done it. There's only one day of salvation. Okay? Atonement. One. That's in the future. It hasn't even happened yet. Okay? So none of us are saved. Many are called, few are chosen. You don't understand this too. You guys believe this baloney, John Calvin crap? You know what? This is God way overboard. But you believe in John Calvin crap? And all these Christians, this quote-unquote Christians, such great such a great cause against the Catholic Church, yet they went around burning people at the stake too in the name of their God. Time and time and time again throughout history, you see the people, most of the majority of them claiming to be Christians, are doing wicked shit. Excuse my language if I use the word God uses. Dung, okay? A different word in American English. Can't argue with that. Go ahead, try. Is that unclean talk? Is that filthy talk? Because I remember God saying there was people that were religious, and He described them as being covered from head to toe. And yeah, you guessed it, dung. Anyway, so I'm gonna let you guys go. I want to get off here. Oh, by the way, good job, Greg Swamp. Good job, Greg. Yeah, you know, really good. I don't even know your name, and you did it as a joke. You are so full of shit. I saw you bowing down to Queenie Scammon and all of them right there. If you had anything in you, man, you would have at least the nads to tell the truth about the whole thing. And that seemed real set up and real quickly, conveniently, all of a sudden. The thing is gaining acceptance is what you did this for. Who knows? You know, I'm not gonna try to figure out your motives, because you could been manipulated a number of ways. But we know that since you're not Greg Swamp, then why would someone put you up to pretending to be Greg Swamp? Unless they're covering up who they are. Who is Greg Swamp? So you're playing this who's who game, and I'm not going to play it. You want to play who's who? You go do that with Arcodius, okay? You do that with Dr. Wickstrom, your teacher, okay? I appreciate a lot of things that he has to say, but I think the approach is what gets his audience going, his drive for his people, and that's wrong. If your approach is all just hate, and that's what gets the people going, and that's the drive, the main drive of your audience, and man, you gotta think about that. You ought to think about that. You ought to think about it, especially if you really believe in scriptures, because I'm talking about just people that believe in your Bible as is. You better think about it. All right. That's why it's called that love, man. You know, you don't want to see AK flirt. You don't. I don't mean that like, you know. I mean like as in you don't want to see me with an AK or something like that. Okay. Because okay. Okay, guys. Okay. So there you have it. You know, you refer when convenient, and you want to write out the Old Testament, what God said before. You just refer to Yeshua when convenient. But when you don't want to listen to Yeshua, it's okay to listen to Paul. Paul's the final word for you. See, that's called a Pauline Christian. You're obeying Paul's words over God's. And that's, tell me who you're going to trust. If you're going down a pathway, let's say those two people, you know, without a doubt was in front of you, Paul and Yeshua. And you knew, without a doubt, that was really them. And one said, here's the path, come with me, follow me. Paul said, come with me, follow me, like this, motioned you to come. And Jesus just put out his hand and said, if you want to follow me, come on then. And reaches out his hand. And there's two paths. And they both say they're taking you down a road to eternity. And that your soul, your spirit, your immortal spirit is dependent on this, okay? Not your soul, your immortal spirit, okay? Two different things. Which person are you going to walk down the road with? Who are you going to follow? Who are you going to serve? Same could be applied for the Pauline Christians, because if you were taking Paul's hand over Jesus at this point, you're a fool. And I won't use it lightly, you're a fool.